In picking the cards today as prompts for the week, I got the letter D, and I associate the dogwood tree with it and a few others. There are the 5 Ds that go with it. The single word was scale. And I found myself looking at the diagram of the crown of the tree with the words as above. And what would that remind me of? As to the D and dogwood, I enjoy this tree. It has what's called opposite branching, where the other trees have alternative. So the branches are across from one another. But what is interesting about the dogwood is it's not very tall, and it's sort of unassuming, and it's there, but you don't necessarily go really looking for it. Deer like it in the winter for grazing the top of the dogwood. But when I go by it, I always remember it's the start of an opposite branching. And I remember mad horse. Maple, ash, dogwood, and horse chestnut have opposite branching when I did my forestry years ago. And the dogwood also, what it does is that it gives a sense of rebirth and purity. And that is an interesting look at this tree that's unassuming, but yet it's there, and the story that it can offer about looking at things from an opposite perspective. So I've always enjoyed that tree. Other trees in the area where I live, there is the diamond willow and the Douglas fir. And I hadn't always been paying attention to the Douglas fir, but here in the Calgary area, there are some growths of the Douglas fir, and we're sort of the farthest east extension in our neck of the woods with the Douglas fir. Big, mighty trees, really, really big, and fill up their space, and you just know that you're in a big tree forest when you're with them. With the letter D, this is kind of an interesting one because it's connected with the 5 Ds that I often talk about when I'm doing my legacy work. And it's from the perspective of dream, design, develop, deliver, determine. And a lot of those Ds you also find in something that's called appreciative inquiry, which you can look up. It's a great way to set up an inquiry to appreciate what's going on in one's life. And those D words are with it. But the significance of the letter D is that it's connected with ancient wisdom. And it also has the sense of hard work and drive that goes with it. And so those 5 Ds that I just mentioned, and I'll give you a little bit more here, is hard work, drive. Yes, do those 5 Ds and do it from an appreciative point of view. That's the prompt that I wanted to share, the appreciative aspect of the D, these 5 Ds. So again, the 5 Ds are determine, deliver, develop, design, dream. And let me go in reverse. So the dream is thinking about the bigger picture. What's your intention? What do you want to improve, focus, and strengthen? So you can bring that back, and from an attention point of view, you can see what's starting to unfold. And that's what awareness is about. So once you've done that dream and you sort of got a sense of where you want to play, what you want to get involved with, then you would go to design. And this is where you start to put the skeleton together, the framework, the base map that would go with it, and sort of see where that takes you. It allows you to take the dream to design, to be playful, to see what's there for you, and have some dialogue, another D, with others about that dream and design, and see what they've got to offer you before you jump into the develop. That's sort of like if you have the skeleton, the organs and the muscles and ligaments is the develop, and the skeleton would be your design. And therefore, when you start getting into the develop stage, you're starting to put a little bit more of the technical word oomph into your legacy. And what you want to do is you just want to make sure that because of those conversations at that design stage, then what you've got is you've got some great insights from that develop. And again, then interact with some others around what you're going to do to develop it, because what you're doing is getting it to the point of being useful and helpful. And thus, you go into the sense of deliver, okay? What we've set in motion, we're going to deliver it, and then determine, is it actually landing? So to determine is to find out, is there truth here about what you thought you wanted to do? And through experiments and the delivery, you figure things out. The determine is to determine the worth of it. Do we do it again? Do we do it in a different format? What might happen for you? So that's the 5 Ds. When it comes to the single word, scale. Okay, scales on a fish, I get that. There's the scales that you find in your bathroom, I get that. So there's a sense of a scale that you might use to balance the exchange. So if I was at A, wanting to get to C, I'd have to go through B. So there'd be a sense of, okay, if I scale my A to C through what I'm doing at B, is that possible? In other words, if I have A of 2 and do I have a C of 6, that's scaling things up. And it's a way in which to take a look at your legacy project, because are you looking to do scaling? Let's say, for example, your project influences the town in which you live, but you might go, hang on a minute, could I scale this and help others in other towns use your idea as well? That's scaling. Now, the other aspect of this is the balancing for exchange. You know, you put gold nuggets on one side and a weight on the other, get a sense of how much gold is there, and then pay out on that gold. That's the scales. And that's an exchange that gets set up. So the scale that I'm using to figure out my legacy is, what of my time, effort, and money am I putting there to be able to get that delivery so I can determine if it actually landed? There's a scaling, and that goes back to that ABC story that I just mentioned as well. So when it comes to scale, that's one of the reflective words that you want to have available as you continue to move forward. With the story of as above linked to the crown of the tree, isn't it often what we do is when we're walking in the forest, we're always looking up, looking at the top of the trees, looking for the birds, looking for the sounds, and we may not be so much looking at the ground cover. And if you use a phrase like as above, so below, are there connections? As above, so below. And I think of it this way. There's the crown of the trees, and then there's the roots. And if you actually flipped it around, don't some of the roots look like the crown? And the existing crown, if put them in the ground, almost look like roots. I don't know. I play with it, with that metaphor, and see where it's going. But I bring it to your attention is because as above, it's thinking about what might be the 5 branches. And I talk about these when it comes to understanding the legacy story of life and leadership and legal and literacy and leverage. And I'll be shooting more about that. There are some videos here on the channel that you can check out. Just look for those terms in the descriptions or put it in the search bar and put it with the channel of that you're watching this on, which is Living Legacy Life. And you can catch up on some of those ideas as well. So again, look for those prompts in those 1 to 3 minute playlist. I think you'll find it kind of interesting. So as above, what's so below? So take a look at it and see what comes to mind for you. Last week, the key word was share, and it was with the letter C. and the 5 C's that are mentioned. And that's the March 5th video that you may want to take a look at, because with that one over the last week, as I move into this week, I've started to figure out that there's a lot that I have to do to be able to get ready to share what I'm doing. And therefore, I'm setting in motion the creation of books, some mini books, prompt books, but also some short courses that I can offer to help people out, linked to a self-directed course that I'm creating around Living Legacy Life, the START program. And that's START. I'm getting this ready because I want to start to share what it is that I've been creating. I like writing, so I'm going to do mine through books, all different kinds of books, and then connecting videos on this channel where you're watching. So keep looking at the long videos as well in the other playlists, and you'll start to see reference to those books and the courses and workshops that are coming up, and sometimes the live on a Saturday. But I'm doing it because it's getting to a point where I can keep playing around. I got to get that rebel going, that instigator, that misfit, that pirate, and start getting what it is that I'm wanting to do out there and in your hands. And therefore, when you go to visit the other videos, which I would so appreciate, make sure you comment. Let me know, hey, this lands with you, this didn't land with you. I always appreciate comments. I've had some interesting ones over the last little while. Someone in a couple of my videos noticed that my hand was getting in front of my face, and they gave me a comment. I appreciate that. I so appreciate that. That's very helpful, because sometimes I don't always realize, and that's why we're here, to help one another move forward. So with these books and workshops and self-directed courses, then I will have these products, services, and experiences available for you. So from the sense of the share, and this week being about the scale, I've got to figure out how to get it moving, really get it moving, and set things up so that I can get that scale working between what it is I'm creating and the exchange with you, to see how I can be of assistance to you. How can I help you to be able to move you forward and living your legacy life? And what I would encourage you to do is, around me here now are videos and playlists, references to what you could watch next. So the playlist of the prompts, that one is the 1 to 3 minute short videos. Grab a journal, listen in, and see where they might take you. There's a series I've got going at the moment called The Rebel Legacy Path. There will be 7 videos in that series. Give them a watch, see what you think, and then comment down below. So with that, take care.